There's a weird feeling every gamer knows but rarely talks about. You start a game and it feels incredible. The mechanics are fresh, the world is exciting, every system feels rewarding, you're hooked. You think this might be one of the best games ever played, and then something changes. 10 hours later, 20 hours later, the same game starts to feel slower, heavier, more exhausting. You're still playing, but you're not enjoying it the same way anymore. What once felt exciting now feels like effort. So, what's going on here? Are games getting worse over time, or is something happening to us as we play them? Because the truth is, this isn't random. It's not just burnout. It's not just bad design. It's something deeper. A combination of psychology, design philosophy, and how modern games are built in 2026. So today on Silver's Edge, we're gonna find out why games feel worse the longer you play them. Your brain gets tired before you do. One of the biggest reasons games feel worse over time is something incredibly simple. Your brain gets tired, even if you don't notice it immediately. Because gaming isn't passive, it requires constant decision making, pattern recognition, spatial awareness, and reaction timing. And all of that is handled by the brain's executive systems, which fatigue much faster than you expect. Over long sessions, your ability to think strategically, react quickly, and process information begins to decline. This is called cognitive fatigue and builds gradually. At first, you don't feel it, but your performance starts slipping. You make more mistakes, you miss obvious cues, you feel less in control, and when performance drops, enjoyment drops with it. And what makes this worse is that many modern games demand constant engagement. There's rarely downtime. There's always a quest marker, an enemy encounter, a dialogue tree, or system demanding attention. Your brain never fully rests, it just keeps processing. And eventually, that mental load turns fun into effort. Because the game didn't get worse, your brain just stopped being able to enjoy it the same way. Novelty dies and repetition takes over. Another major reason games feel worse over time is the death of novelty. At the start of a game, everything is new. New mechanics, new world, new progression systems. Your brain is constantly rewarded with discovery. But over time, those systems stop being new and start being repeated. What once felt like exploration becomes routine. The combat becomes predictable, side quests start blending together, and even if the game introduces new elements, they are often built on the same code loop, which your brain has already mastered. Games feel incredible at first, then they start repeating mechanics to prolong the game. And here's the key problem. Modern games are often designed to extend playtime and not necessarily to maintain novelty. So instead of evolving meaningfully, they stretch existing systems. And once your brain recognizes the pattern, magic fades. Modern games are too long for their own good. Length has become one of the biggest hidden issues in modern gaming. Today, it's completely normal for a single player game to last 50, 80, even 100 plus hours. And on paper, that sounds like value more content, more gameplay, more to do. But in reality, that length often works against the experience. Because the longer a game goes on, the harder it becomes to maintain pacing, engagement, and emotional investment. Even great games start to feel exhausting simply because they demand sustained attention over long periods. Players frequently describe this exact problem by saying that even really good games feel exhausting to replay, there's just too much going on. And this ties directly into a broader 2026 trend backlog pressure. Because modern players aren't just playing one game, they're juggling dozens. With live service games, subscription libraries, and constant new releases, every hour spent in one game starts to feel like time not spent elsewhere. So as a game drags on, it doesn't just feel long, it starts to feel like a commitment. And commitment slowly replaces enjoyment. Games shift from fun to system management. There's another subtle shift that happens the longer you play a game. It stops being about playing and starts being about management systems. Early in a game, mechanics feel intuitive. You experiment, you learn, you enjoy the process. But later, especially in modern RPGs and open worlds, complexity increases dramatically. Now you're managing skill trees, crafting systems, inventory weight, quests, currencies, upgrades, side objectives, sometimes all at once. What starts as fun becomes mental overhead. Even storytelling contributes to this. Modern games blur the line between gameplay and cinematic storytelling, but that often leads to pacing issues. Long cutscenes, heavy dialogue, and forced downtime can feel slower and more draining over time, especially when players expect constant interactivity. The result? You're no longer immersed, you're juggling systems, and the more systems you juggle, the more the experience feels like work. Burnout, even when you still like the game. One of the most interesting discoveries in recent research is that players can feel burnout even while still wanting to play. A 2026 study on gaming behavior describes this exact phenomenon by saying that players continue playing despite feeling tired or disengaged, driven by habit, obligation, or progression systems. And this is where modern design plays a huge role, because many games are built around retention systems, including daily rewards, battle passes, progress streaks, and social pressure from multiplayer. These systems don't just encourage play, they discourage stopping, and that creates a dangerous loop. You keep playing even when the game is no longer fun. Players themselves describe this clearly by saying that playing feels tiring, even good games feel like a chore. So, this is no longer entertainment, it's engagement without enjoyment. You stop feeling the game. There's one more factor most people never think about: sensory fatigue. Games don't just engage your brain, they engage your senses constantly. Visuals, audio, UI feedback, animations, all firing non-stop for hours. And over time, this creates subtle exhaustion. Even something as overlooked as sound design can cause fatigue. Repetitive or poorly balanced audio leads to what developers now call listening fatigue, where players gradually disconnect from the experience without realizing why. And the same applies to visuals. High fidelity graphics demand more cognitive processing, which increases mental load over time. So even if the game is technically impressive, your brain starts tuning it out, and the result is a strange feeling. You're still playing, but you're no longer feeling the game. So why do games feel worse the longer you play them? It's not just bad design, it's not just burnout, it's a combination of everything. Your brain getting tired, novelty fading into repetition, games being too long, systems becoming overwhelming, design prioritizing retention over enjoyment, and sensory fatigue dulling the immersion. Because modern games aren't just experiences anymore, they're systems designed to hold your attention. And the longer you stay inside that system, the more the illusion starts to break. So maybe the problem isn't that games get worse. Maybe it's that they're not designed to be enjoyed for that long in the first place. But that's just my thoughts. What do you think? Do games actually get worse over time, or do we just experience them differently? Let's talk in the comments down below. And if you like this video, click like, share, and subscribe to watch more videos like this one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay silver.